connected over Zoom like right before this, and you teach at a university, right?
So happy to be an educator and trying to perpetuate the practices and the histories and the stories of our ancestors. This awesome place that we live in, and being able to share that with other people, and look at the histories that are still there, even if we can't always directly see them with our own eyes.
Start with actually asking you questions about urban planning, as we talked about good urban planning, bad urban planning, and then this canal, all of this.
Yeah. So this this would be a good example of maybe not the best urban planning. Traditionally, the water, or the vai, the fresh water, would flow from the mountain down to the ocean, but as it went down, it would run through the streams and run through the taro patches and run through the fish ponds, and so you have all of this wealth, all of this rich water. Again, we talked about the term for wealthy being vai, water. And so Hawaiians understood that if you had water, you had fresh water, that you were considered wealthy or considered rich or treasured in that sense. Water was a valuable resource. And so this is a good example of pretty much urban planning, of removing the water from the natural way that it flows into the land, so that it can, I guess, divert it out of your way.
Yeah.
And so you've got Waikiki built here on what traditionally used to be fish ponds and taro patches. And so imagine that instead of all of these buildings, it was just ponds everywhere. And there was so much production. The first foreigners that came here, they said, wow, you can tell, wow, these Hawaiians, they're so amazing. Look at the land. It's so productive. It's so cared for. It's so beautiful. They're taking care of it so much.
If you could have all the resources in the world to do something about urban planning, if you can wave a magic wand and just fix anything.
I think there's definitely a handful of people who are working towards pulling that together and having better planning. So for example, when you're building something in Waikiki, going to the natives or the people who have lived in Waikiki for generations and have seen the changes over time, have seen what happens over generations, and have those experiences to be the advisors on those kind of projects. During the 1800s, during the kingdom, land was changed to private property, and a lot of that was given to or taken by the government, and then the government sold and auctioned a lot of land off to foreigners. So you have foreigners purchasing land, and when they're purchasing land, oftentimes those purchases were going into like sugar plantations, eventually turning into pineapple or coffee or magna, some of the other. Imagine, this is one of the richest valleys here. This is Manoa Valley. Imagine these big buildings weren't here, these handful of buildings, but imagine how much water as a resource is flowing through that. It's coming, it's cut, it's ridges. All of those ridges you see are cut from the water, but all of that water comes through the ground, through the streams, and then eventually down here.
Wow.
and now into the Alawai. So think about this place, it's called Waikiki, yeah? And Waikiki, Wai means freshwater. Kiki means like it's spurting, it's just like shooting up out of the ground. It's just coming up everywhere. That as it flowed all through the land, it would filter through the streams and the fish ponds and the taro patches. But then you build this and you have to figure out somewhere to send that water.
Yeah.
And so this is the result of that. Imagine that the rain falls in the back, you've got the waterfalls, you've got all of this filtering process of all of this water. The Hawaiian word for water is vai, wai. But when you say that two times and you say wai or vai, it means wealthy. It means rich. It means treasured. But imagine that used to feed the ocean, used to feed the fish. The brackish water where the fresh water and the salt water reach. Oftentimes those are places where the fish love to
What about
to be.
now? Do the water still come down from the mountains now?
Definitely, you don't have as much surface water that's coming You get them diverted. So imagine that you used to have a small stream in your backyard, and your neighbor had more like maybe a irrigation canals kind.
Okay.
And instead of like going all the way to the stream to get water, you diverted just a small little bit, a canal through your neighbors and your neighbors and your neighbors' areas. And so the water used to flow through the land. Everybody had access to it. So everybody took care of it because everybody understood the connection that without water, then you don't have wealth. So everybody wasn't polluting the water or throwing rubbish inside the water, definitely not diverting it. Instead, you would go around the water. And so looking at that as a resource, that's just one of our resources that really hasn't been maintained today.
As we wrap, right? If there's one sentence you can use to let people take away something about what is the real Hawaii, what would that be?
I think I'm gonna use that olelo no eao that I had shared with you downstairs. He ali'i ka aina, he kaua ke kanaka. And so this is just one of our cultural sayings that it translates as the land is the chief and the man is the servant. And for us as Hawaiians, it just kind of reminds us of our relationship that we have to serve the land, that it provides everything for us, and not that it is our right to take from the land and to move it and to use it as we wish, but rather our responsibility to maintain that relationship of reciprocity that we should have with the land. And I think that is something that we can take away and use all across the world, wherever we're from, to maintain a better relationship with the environment, for sure.
Mahalo.